Hello, my name is Steve Kirby. I'm the author of 6 books, over 70 published articles, and numerous brochures about Islam. This is the first in a series of short videos looking at the conflict between Islam and the United States Constitution. I want to begin by talking with you about the Muslim Oath Project. Let's travel back to January 2019 and look at what United States Congressman Andre Carson from Indiana, a Muslim convert, had to say at the community congressional reception hosted by CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. It's more than just about having 3 Muslims in Congress. I think symbolically it has great value, but I won't rest until 2020 we have 5 more members of Congress. 2022 and 24, we have 10 more Muslims in Congress. In 2030, we may have about 35 Muslims in Congress. Then we're talking about Madam Chair Rashida. We're talking about Madam Chair Ilhan. Hell, we could be saying Speaker of the House Ilhan, Speaker of the House Rashida, Senator Rashida, Governor Ilhan, President Fatima, Vice President Aziza, Inshallah, if Allah will. Each and every one of us has a directive to represent Islam in all our imperfections, but to represent Islam and let the world know that Muslims are here to stay, and Muslims are a part of America. And we will have a Muslim caucus that is sizable, that is formidable, and that is there for you. A formidable Muslim caucus in the United States Congress? There's a problem with this. Every public official at the federal, state, and local levels has to take an oath to support the United States Constitution. This is based on Article 6, Clause 3 of that Constitution. It's known as the Oaths Clause. Attorney and writer David Shostakis made an interesting comment about how far-reaching this oath requirement is at the state and local levels. This constitutional requirement is binding upon every government official in the United States, from state governors and judges to members of city councils, police officers, firefighters, or board members of mosquito abatement districts and library boards. The problem is, as I showed in my latest book, Islamic Doctrine versus the U.S. Constitution, The Dilemma for Muslim Public Officials, there are many core doctrines of Islam that are in direct conflict with much of the U.S. Constitution. The 2019 election saw an increase in the number of Muslims re-elected or newly elected to public office across the United States. And as part of their oaths of office, they each had to swear to support the U.S. Constitution. The upcoming 2020 elections have seen an increase in the number of Muslim candidates running for public office. If elected, these candidates will have to also take an oath of office in which they swear to support the U.S. Constitution. It is only natural, then, that Muslim public officials and candidates be asked about how they resolve the conflict between the U.S. Constitution and their religion. I decided to put this idea to the test for the Muslim Oath Project. Over the last few months, I sent emails, Facebook messages, and/or Twitter messages to 226 current Muslim public officials and Muslim candidates running for public office at local, state, and federal levels across the United States. I presented each with the same 4 questions that required a choice to be made between the U.S. Constitution or Islamic doctrine. Here is one of those 4 questions. Will you go on record now and state that our First Amendment right to freedom of speech gives the right to anyone in the United States to criticize or disagree with your Prophet Muhammad? And will you also go on record now and state that you support and defend anyone's right to criticize or disagree with your Prophet Muhammad? And that you condemn anyone who threatens death or physical harm to another person who is exercising that right? In theory, one would think that after a Muslim public official had taken an oath to support the U.S. Constitution, having to now publicly choose between either following that Constitution or following Islamic doctrine would be simple. A Muslim public official would abide by the oath of office and choose the Constitution. And Muslim candidates running for public office should know beforehand that if elected, they will have to take an oath to support the U.S. Constitution. In theory, then, Muslim candidates should also be willing to express support for that Constitution. The actual results were eye-opening. Of the 226 Muslims I contacted, only 14 expressed support for the Constitution with each of the 4 questions. For some reason, 5 of those 14 would not give me permission to use their names. 212 of the Muslims contacted, that's 94%, would not express any support for the Constitution that some had already sworn to support, and that the others would be doing so if they won their elections. Except for the 5 I mentioned, all of the other Muslims have been identified by name, by the position each holds or is seeking, and by state. This information, the 4 questions and more, are located at the Muslim Oath Project website. And here's an action item. I encourage you to go to that website, find the Muslims in your state or a close by state who would not express support for the U.S. Constitution. Politely contact them and ask them why they would not support that constitution. If they claim they never received the questions, ask them for their best contact information. Then let me know so I can send them the 4 questions again. If you know of Muslim public officials or candidates who are not on the Muslim Oath Project list, please contact me with their information. In our next video, we will be looking at how Islam allows Muslims to deceive non-Muslims. I encourage you to post this video and the ones following on social media, and tell your friends and conservative groups about this video series. Educate yourself and take action. Thank you, and I look forward to being with you again soon.